It is an absolute meltdown behind those polished Montecito gates right now, and make no mistake, this is not some quiet lifestyle adjustment or a harmless rumor drifting through celebrity circles. This is a full-blown collapse. Meghan Markle, the woman who once strutted into California like she had conquered the American dream itself, is now doing something no one expected. She is trying to get out, fast, desperate, quietly. And the reason? Because the paradise she swore would save her has turned into a suffocating trap. For years, she painted Montecito as her sanctuary, the place where she would finally breathe, the place where she would rebuild, rebrand, and rise above everything she claimed nearly destroyed her in Britain. Tens of millions poured into that sprawling estate. Carefully curated images, organic gardens, chickens, wellness vibes, California royalty energy. But behind the filtered photos and staged serenity, something darker has been festering, and now it's spilling out. Sources close to the situation say the backlash has become unbearable. Not just online whispers, not just tabloid chatter, real rejection. From Netflix, from neighbors, from the very elite circle she believed she belonged to. One insider didn't sugarcoat it at all, saying the Montecito dream has become a Montecito nightmare and Meghan wants out before it fully implodes. And here's the bitter irony. The same woman who said she was trapped inside the royal system, who said she couldn't breathe, is now suffocating in the life she chose for herself. California was supposed to be freedom. Instead, it's become a gilded cage. When Harry and Meghan first arrived in California, it felt like a coronation. Celebrity neighbors, exclusive invitations, Hollywood doors swinging open. They were treated like royalty without crowns. Montecito was meant to be proof that they had made the right decision, that leaving everything behind was worth it. But fast forward, and that so-called sanctuary now feels more like a prison built on bad decisions and broken promises. What stings the most is how hard Meghan worked to sell herself as the ultimate California insider. The aesthetic, the activism, the carefully crafted image of belonging, but the community saw right through it. The helicopters, the security convoys, the constant chaos. Montecito isn't impressed by fame. They have real celebrities who know how to disappear when needed, and Harry and Meghan never learned that rule. Invitations dried up. Dinner parties quietly removed their names. Local boutiques and coffee spots reportedly became uncomfortable, not welcoming. One local source summed it up brutally, saying they expected celebrity treatment, but this community already has celebrities, and they don't bring drama everywhere they go. And that social freeze out alone would be humiliating enough, but it's just the surface of a much bigger disaster. Behind closed doors, Netflix is losing patience, and insiders say the relationship is effectively dead. The same streaming giant that once handed over a deal rumored to be worth more than $100 million is now deeply regretting it. What was promised versus what was delivered doesn't even come close. The documentary that was meant to redefine their love story turned into a public grievance session. Projects announced with fanfare either flopped or vanished into development limbo. A cooking show mocked. A polo documentary nobody asked for. Endless promises, minimal payoff. One industry insider said the numbers don't lie and Netflix simply didn't get the audience it paid for. Translation? The blank check bounced, and Hollywood notices everything. Executives talk. Word spreads. Other studios watched Netflix get burned and quietly decided they wanted no part of that chaos. One executive allegedly said they wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole after seeing how that deal unfolded. Then there's Archewell, or what's left of it. What's happening inside that organization isn't normal turnover, it's a mass evacuation. 11 professionals gone. Not because of better offers, not because of restructuring, because they had enough. The most devastating exit was James Hope, a man who uprooted his entire family, moved continents, and stood beside them through every scandal. His departure spoke louder than any press release ever could. Former staff describe an environment that feels chaotic, demoralizing, and impossible. Constantly shifting demands. No stability, no appreciation. Meghan's management style, according to multiple accounts, left people feeling disposable. The words toxic workplace weren't whispered, they were repeated. Even the head of PR lasted just 7 months. 7. That's not strategy, that's a red flag on fire. Now, Archewell is reportedly operating with barely anyone left. A skeleton crew. And the spin coming from their camp? That this is all part of a new operating model. No one believes that. You don't lose 11 people because things are working. You lose 11 people because they're breaking. And Montecito is watching all of this unfold with growing disdain. This community values privacy above all else. People pay obscene amounts of money to escape noise, attention, and spectacle. And then Harry and Meghan arrived with exactly that. Prowler reports, police visits, media vans, unfamiliar vehicles roaming streets, streets. Neighbors are fed up. One longtime resident allegedly said the community was perfectly peaceful before they arrived, and many wish they would take their circus elsewhere. For Meghan, this rejection cuts especially deep. This is the crowd she wanted acceptance from more than anyone. Wealthy, influential, untouchable, and they shut the door in her face. Charity invitations unanswered, clubs quietly discouraging membership, polite smiles masking firm rejection. The message couldn't be clearer if it were shouted, "You don't belong here." Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, Britain is watching with barely concealed satisfaction. Commentators who warned this would happen feel vindicated. The same couple who fled British tabloids are now drowning in worse press than ever, and this time they can't blame the institution they left behind. There's no rescue coming from London, no sympathy, no safety net, and the financial pressure, it's real. That Montecito mansion alone cost around $14 million. Security runs into the millions annually. Staff, travel, lifestyle, designer wardrobes, private jets. The money hemorrhage is constant, and the income streams are drying up. Spotify collapsed, Netflix is sour, brands are wary. One executive famously called them grifters, and that label stuck like glue. New deals are hard to secure because every partnership comes with controversy baggage. One marketing insider allegedly said the juice simply isn't worth the squeeze anymore, and philanthropy without money is just talk. What makes this even more dangerous is their refusal to scale back. Spending continues as if the checks will never stop. Either they have hidden reserves or they're barreling toward a cliff. And now comes the final twist. Meghan is reportedly researching escape routes. Other states, other countries, anywhere that promises a reset. Texas, Europe, places where the spotlight dims and expectations are lower. The woman who branded herself as California Sunshine is ready to run. Harry, on the other hand, is conflicted. Leaving California means admitting the dream failed, admitting he walked away from everything for something that didn't exist. Sources say the tension between them is growing. Different visions, different regrets. What once united them now divides them. Harry wanted peace, Meghan wanted power, and those goals don't coexist. The pressure is showing. Public appearances, body language. The prince who once lit up rooms now looks lost. He misses his family. He misses his brother. He carries guilt. And all of it traces back to the choices that led him here. Hollywood momentum has reversed. Meetings declined, doors closed, reputation damaged. In that town, you're only as good as your last success, and they haven't had one in a long time. Public opinion has turned vicious. Social media mockery replaces debate. Supporters vanish. Critics multiply. Even Americans are tired. Complaints from millionaires don't land well when paired with private jets and gated estates. And that's the most devastating part. The audience they wanted no longer cares. The empire they imagined is crumbling. The brand is collapsing. And the dream that once looked unstoppable now feels like a cautionary tale unfolding in real time. Whether they flee Montecito or stay and face it, one lesson is now unavoidable. Fame gives. Fame takes. And right now, it's taking everything. And this story, it's far from over. And here's where the story turns from messy to dangerous. Because when a public downfall stretches this long, it stops being about bad luck and starts becoming about pattern. People aren't just whispering anymore. They're connecting dots. They're replaying old interviews, old promises, old accusations, and asking one brutal question. Was any of this ever real? Or was it always smoke and mirrors? Because when you strip away the titles, the contracts, the headlines, what's left looks painfully thin. No hit shows, no lasting goodwill, no stable team, no welcoming community. Just two people boxed into a life they insisted was freedom, now realizing freedom doesn't clap for you, doesn't protect you, and definitely doesn't keep writing checks when you stop delivering. And insiders say that realization has hit Meghan hard, not quietly, not gracefully, but in waves of frustration, anxiety, and desperation. The kind that leads to late-night research sessions, frantic calls, and constant comparisons to people who seem to be thriving effortlessly in the very circles she wanted to dominate. Watching others succeed where she believed she would reign has reportedly been unbearable. There's also growing tension around control. Sources claim Meghan is pushing harder than ever to steer the narrative to reclaim dominance over how this story ends. More calculated leaks, more positioning, more attempts to redirect blame. Hollywood is unfair, the public is cruel, expectations were unreasonable. But that strategy energy is wearing thin. The audience has heard it before, too many times, and each repetition lands weaker than the last. Harry, meanwhile, is said to be retreating inward, less assertive, more withdrawn. Friends who once recognized his old spark barely see it now. He looks like someone who followed love into a storm and is only now realizing there's no map back. The isolation hits differently for him. He didn't just lose deals, he lost home, identity, and the safety net he grew up with. And that kind of loss doesn't fade quietly. The children, too, loom large over every decision. Insiders claim Meghan is deeply concerned about how this instability will shape their future. New schools, new locations, new faces, constant adjustment. That's not the peaceful upbringing they promised the world. And whether fair or not, the fear that their kids could become collateral damage in this saga has added emotional pressure that no PR team can manage. What's especially telling is how few powerful voices are stepping in to help. No Oprah-style rescue interviews, no industry champions publicly defending them, no quiet backroom deals smoothing the road ahead. That silence speaks volumes. Hollywood protects winners. It distances itself from liabilities. And right now, the Sussex brand sits firmly in the second category. Even their attempts at reinvention feel rushed, almost panicked. Projects that once would have been dismissed as not aligned are suddenly back on the table. Concepts that don't fit their carefully curated image are being reconsidered. When standards drop, people notice. And it feeds the perception that this isn't evolution, it's survival mode. The saddest irony of all is that they didn't need to end up here. With patience, humility, and consistency, this story could have played out very differently. But impatience replaced strategy. Ego replaced teamwork. Control replaced collaboration. And now the bill has come due. What unfolds next will define everything. If they move, it will be framed as a fresh start, but everyone will know it's a retreat. If they stay, the pressure will only intensify. Either way, the illusion of invincibility is gone. The mystique has evaporated. And once that happens, fame becomes brutally transactional. People are watching now not with admiration, but with morbid curiosity, waiting to see whether this ends in reinvention, quiet withdrawal, or total collapse, waiting to see who blinks first, waiting to see whether love survives when ambition fails, because this was never just about Montecito, or Netflix, or staff exits. This is about identity, about what happens when the story you sell the world stops matching reality, about what happens when the spotlight you chase turns unforgiving. And the most uncomfortable truth of all, the audience isn't angry anymore. They're bored. And in the world of celebrity, boredom is the kiss of death. So whether they run, rebrand, or retreat entirely, one thing is certain: the chapter that once promised triumph has closed. And the next one won't be written on their terms alone. Written on their terms alone. Written on their terms alone. Written on their